Have you ever considered that silence can be more powerful than any spoken affirmation or prayer? There is a little-known practice, quiet, discreet, yet deeply transformative, that can change your financial reality without anyone around you noticing. It doesn't involve mystical rituals, miraculous promises, or empty repetitions. It's a practical, simple action done in silence that acts directly on your perceptual field. The field that, according to Jacobo Grinberg, shapes the reality you experience every day. In this video, you'll discover how small, conscious gestures, combined with a silent restructuring of mental patterns through writing and presence, can unlock unexpected paths to prosperity. If you've felt like you're doing everything right and nothing changes, maybe you're simply making too much noise. Comment below with the phrase, "In silence, I activate my abundance," and let that energy start working for you right now. Jacobo Grinberg was a Mexican neurophysiologist and psychologist who dedicated his life to studying the connection between mind, reality, and consciousness. His main contribution, the synergic theory, proposes that reality as we perceive it is not something external and fixed, but a construction resulting from the interaction between the brain's neuronal field and the universe's informational field, what he called the lattice, or web of reality. According to Grinberg, by modifying our patterns of attention, perception, and intention, we can literally alter the structure of the reality around us. And it's precisely in this opening that the silent practice presented in this video rests. Grinberg maintained that silence is not the absence of sound, but a state of expanded attention in which consciousness approaches the pure field of information. It's in this state that human beings access the mind's creative power. The technique you'll learn here is based on this principle. It isn't about thinking positively, but acting in silence with intention and awareness, using the mind and body as instruments of perceptual reorganization. That's where reality begins to respond, including with unexpected gains. To understand how a silent practice can generate real changes in life, even financial ones, you need to grasp the basis of Jacobo Grinberg's synergic theory. He said the reality we perceive is created from the interaction between our neuronal field and a larger informational field, which he called the lattice. This field is a network of pure, infinite, neutral information that is available at all times, but only manifests according to how our mind interprets and organizes it. In other words, what we call reality is just one of the infinite possibilities that this field allows. The key, therefore, lies in perceptual organization. When our mind is full of noise, racing thoughts, constant judgments, anxiety, mental repetition, it can't access the subtler layers of this field. The inner noise acts as a blockade. It distorts the reception of information and keeps the individual trapped in repetitive patterns, both emotional and material. And that includes the pattern of scarcity. Even when a person says they want abundance, their mental field may be tuned to the repetition of fear, urgency, or doubt, and the lattice answers with more of the same. On the other hand, intentional silence reorganizes the mind. It isn't merely the absence of sound, but a state of presence and expanded attention. In this state, perception is no longer stuck on autopilot and begins to explore new configurations of the informational field. Grinberg argued that when humans enter this attentive silence, they can restructure their perception of reality and thus change what they manifest in life. It's as if silence opened a direct channel to the fabric of reality, allowing new paths to become possible, including financial ones. But there's an important point. Silence alone is not enough. It needs to be accompanied by intention and direction. When a person quiets down but remains attached to the same mental habits, nothing changes. When they quiet down and at the same time move, physically or mentally with purpose, their field begins to respond. Silent manifestation, therefore, is not passive. It is an active form of interacting with the real. It's like moving the pieces on an invisible board. where attention is the move and silence is the board. Synergic logic reveals that small, conscious actions done in silence can reorganize the field and generate concrete effects. And because everything in the field is interconnected, these reorganizations can show up as new ideas, unexpected encounters, financial opportunities, or resources that arrive without any apparent effort. Reality is not out there. It begins in the quiet interior of perception. Within the synergic framework proposed by Jacobo Grinberg, every conscious action has the power to reorganize the informational field of reality. But it isn't just any action, it must occur in a state of inner silence, with carefully directed attention. The practice of silent displacement with directed attention arises from this premise. What it proposes is simple yet profound. Move in silence, free from external distractions, while directing your attention to specific symbolic elements in your environment. Imagine the following scenario. You decide to walk through a familiar place. It could be a park, a street, a hallway in your home. Instead of just walking, you quiet your inner dialogue completely. No thinking about problems, commitments, or judgments. The focus is now on observing a single element at a time in detail: the texture of the ground, the shine of a leaf, the ambient sound, the light on an object, the way your feet touch the floor. Each step becomes an act of awareness. This kind of silent movement creates a break in the mind's automatic patterns. According to Grinberg, this break is essential for new configurations of reality to emerge. The field of reality responds with new information when attention is withdrawn from repetition and immersed in the present. This shift is like turning an inner mirror. When you change the direction of attention, the external reflection changes too. The secret lies in the symbolism of the objects observed during the movement. If you're walking and notice a coin on the ground, for example, instead of merely noticing and moving on, you stop, observe silently, and contemplate. You let that symbol enter your field without verbalization. This creates a silent connection between your inner state and the outer field. Reality begins to understand that you are attentive and receptive, and it responds in sync. And this isn't mysticism. It's neuroscience applied to expanded perception. Another way to apply the practice is to use symbolic objects strategically placed in your home. A folded bill, an empty glass waiting to be filled, a small open box. As you pass them in silence, fix your attention on them for a few seconds, without thinking, just feeling. This intentional silent pause turns the environment into a field of perceptual programming. This practice should be done every day for at least 10 to 15 minutes, anywhere. What matters is that the movement takes place in true silence, with attention fully given to the moment and to objects that symbolize abundance, order, or receptivity. It's an active way of communicating to the field. I am ready, I am present, and I'm adjusting my reality. If reality is built from perceptual structures, as Jacobo Grinberg stated, then transforming your life necessarily requires transforming the way you interpret and record the world around you. This is where a simple yet extremely powerful practice comes in: silent handwritten rewriting. It's a daily exercise done with paper and pen, not on a phone, not typed, and carried out in absolute silence, with focus and presence. This practice can concretely restructure the scarcity patterns that operate invisibly within your perceptual system. The first thing you need to know is that your brain constructs reality based on stories. Many of these stories were written unconsciously over the course of your life through experiences of loss, rejection, fear, or frustration. Without realizing it, you may be carrying narratives like, "It's hard to make money," "I have to struggle a lot to deserve anything," or "Success is for other people." These sentences are not just thoughts. They are active codes that shape the kind of reality you perceive and therefore live. Silent, handwritten rewriting begins with inner observation. In absolute silence, sit for a few minutes and ask yourself, what story of scarcity still lives in me? Let the answers come without forcing them. Once you identify a limiting narrative, write it on a sheet of paper, briefly and directly. For example, I feel I am not worthy of receiving money with ease. Then draw a single horizontal line through that sentence, and just below it, write a new reorganized narrative such as, I am worthy of receiving with lightness, without effort, and with gratitude. This writing must be done with full attention. With every word, you feel, visualize, and connect with the new meaning. This is not about automatic affirmations, but symbolic restructuring. When this new story is written by hand, it doesn't remain only in the mental plane. It passes through the body, the muscles, the breath, and inscribes itself in the informational field as well. The exercise should last 10 to 15 minutes a day. You can repeat the same reorganized sentence for a few lines or create small variations on the same idea, always feeling and writing with total presence. At the end, keep that paper in a symbolic place, a box, a drawer, a folder, as a silent ritual of programming the field. According to Grinberg's logic, when you change the inner elements that make up your perceptual structure, you change your relationship to the lattice of reality. Over time, this practice begins to produce visible results, opportunities, encounters, unexpected gains. You're not just writing sentences, you're rewriting your place within the field of abundance. One of the biggest questions for those beginning practices of reconnection with the informational field of reality is, how do I know if it's working? According to Jacobo Grinberg, when we start reorganizing our perceptual field through silent attention and conscious practices, the field of reality responds. And this response doesn't happen in a spectacular or magical way, but through subtle signs, often ignored by those still conditioned to expect immediate, grand results. Learning to recognize these signs is as important as practicing, because this recognition strengthens your bond with the field. The first type of response from the field is synchronicity. You begin to notice that certain words, objects, situations, or people appear at very specific moments, as if reality were speaking to you. One example: after a session of silent handwritten rewriting about receiving money with ease, you find a bill in the pocket of an old piece of clothing, or someone mentions an unusual financial opportunity. These events are not coincidences. They are reorganizations of the field responding to your new perceptual structure. Another common sign is sudden mental clarity. After a few days of silent practice, you may notice certain ideas starting to surface more clearly. Solutions that once seemed distant become obvious. Decisions that were confusing now present themselves with lightness. This clarity is a sign that mental noise has decreased, and the informational field has started to flow into your consciousness more easily. This perception is the beginning of a new internal architecture, and it precedes external changes. The third type of response is a flow of micro-opportunities. This can include invitations, people reappearing with proposals, paths that once seemed closed and now are accessible. These opportunities don't arise from nowhere. They were always in the field, but your previous perception ignored or blocked them. When you quiet down and reorganize your attention, you begin to perceive these possibilities with new eyes. It's like changing a radio station and tuning into a more favorable frequency. It's also common to feel subtle physiological changes, relief in your breathing, lightness in the body, a sense of inner space. These shifts are direct reflections of a change in perceptual frequency. Grinberg emphasized that the body is a mirror of the mind, and that every modification in the neuronal field echoes in the physical system. By recognizing these signs, you confirm internally that you're on the right path, even before any major external change. The important thing is to remain sensitive and attentive, but without anxiety. The field responds, but it responds with intelligence, with timing, and with precision. Your role isn't to demand, but to recognize the signs as confirmations of the new reality under construction. and each recognized sign deepens the silent reprogramming of your personal universe. Starting a silent practice focused on the reorganization of perception is already a big step, but for results to become sustainable, not just one-off experiences, you need to learn how to keep the field active and attractive on an ongoing basis. Jacobo Grinberg stressed that reality is a dynamic reflection of our inner structure and that the synergic field responds in real time to our perceptual configuration. This means that even after achieving unexpected manifestations, such as financial gains or unique opportunities, it's essential to remain in a state of active presence so the new pattern stabilizes and expands. The first element for keeping the field active is silent discipline. Silence can't be something occasional, used only when you want something. It must be cultivated daily as a sacred space. This doesn't require long periods of isolation, but brief, conscious pauses throughout the day, 5 minutes between tasks, a moment before leaving home, a few seconds before making decisions. In these pauses, the mind aligns and the field adjusts. The second element is constant symbolic renewal. Objects, environments, and rituals used as anchors for the new perception shouldn't remain fixed for too long. If you placed a coin on the table as a symbol of abundance, switch it for a different one after a few days. If you wrote reprogramming phrases, update the words as you feel inner changes. This shows the field that movement continues, that there is living action in the process, and the field responds with more movement. Another essential point is selective attention. Grinberg said that consciousness should not give itself passively to reality's stimuli, but choose what it wants to tune into. If you spend the whole day consuming content that feeds fear, scarcity, or comparison, your field will absorb that structure. To keep manifestation active, you need to feed the field with coherent perceptions, constructive reading, focused silence, and time with people who respect your state of presence. In addition, keep up the habit of handwritten rewriting, but evolve the themes. If before you worked on beliefs of scarcity, later you can work on themes such as worthiness, expansion, contribution. This progression shows the field that you're preparing to receive more, and the field expands along with your perception. Finally, accept that some days will feel neutral or empty. This isn't regression, it's part of the process. The field also has its incubation cycles when the inner seeds are preparing to emerge. Trust the rhythm of the practice. Silent consistency is what turns small manifestations into a lasting reality. Keeping the field active is, above all, keeping your commitment to presence and to the depth of your own consciousness. Now that you've understood step by step how to use silence as an active tool of manifestation, it's time to act. None of this will truly transform anything if it remains only as information stored in your mind. Real change happens when knowledge meets practice, and that starts now with you. Choose a moment in your day to begin your silent routine. Walk with presence, observe with intention, write with awareness. These are simple actions, yet deeply aligned with the structures of the reality you want to create. Remember, reality responds to those who send clear, consistent, silent signals. You don't need to tell anyone what you're doing. The field of life is already listening, and it responds. If this content touched you in any way, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Share this video with someone who needs to reorganize their life without relying on empty methods. And of course, comment below. In silence, I activate my abundance. That will be your first conscious act of manifestation, direct, symbolic, and powerful. You're already in motion. Keep going. The field is ready to surprise you.